All right, let's blast off. Elon Musk, million dono might be illegal. Bull watch, hog watch. It's Monday news day. IOF bombs Lebanese banks. Maya. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna take out the IOF Lebanese banks thing because I'm gonna post about Maya here. Maya Higa will be on later to teach me about animals. Weird sex edition. Get in now. This fan cam went viral. Holy shit. Do we have a blast off meme chat? What is this fan cam? Oh yeah, this one did go viral. I know. Do we have a blast off meme? Don, are you snitching on the billionaires again? Yeah, I know. Turks came in for the Federal commentary apparently. Oh yeah, Fethullah Gulen is dead, but motherfucker was 83. The CIA is very sad today. Okay, the CIA very sad today. They lost one of their best assets. Yeah, call your local Fethullah Gulen supporters chat. NS contact freedom. He's probably crying. He's probably really fucking sad. You know. R.I.P. Bozo. Pack watch. My Turkish trainers from a Güleniz family. There's a lot. There's like hella fucking Güleniz out here. It's weird, bro. It is. There's like, I mean, I guess it's not that weird because, like I said, he is straight up, you know, an American State Department asset. So it does make sense. But hiçbir bokta yok. I was in a Haaretz article. They talked about me in a Haaretz article. Haaretz. That's crazy. Do we have a blast out meme or not? Okay, well, I'm just gonna use this one. Fuck it. Wait, why can't I save this? Okay. I'm just gonna blast off with this. And I'm gonna need a fucking Haaretz paywall destroyer, if possible, for this article because I want to watch it. I want to read it. Here it is. Why did you dislike the guy? Fethullah Gulen? Fethullah Gulen is a fucking weird ass like Muslim cleric that is that straight up set up like a parallel government in Turkey. But from originally the same cloth of Recep Tayyip Erdogan, he's a Islamist fundamentalist and also he is the Falun Gong of Turkey, if that makes sense for all the fucking Western audiences that want to understand. Like he originally was like cut from the same fucking group and had background of like Recep Tayyip Erdogan and like the Muslim right in Turkey, but then they obviously they had differences in agreement, and I think that difference in agreement was born out of like probably American State Department interests in general. But those guys were all like the Turkish like Muslim right, conservative right movement was also directly funded and facilitated by America alongside the ultra nationalist movement in Turkey, the JJJ, the fucking MHP, the ultra nationalist party in Turkey. These were all like backed movements in the nation during the Cold War, and one of them was obviously like the Muslim angle. And Fethullah Gulen was like originally aligned with Recep Tayyip Erdogan. He had his fucking tentacles in every part of Turkish society, from the police to the courts to the fucking military even. It's crazy. And then there was a failed coup that happened, and they did not succeed. Erdogan used the coup to his advantage to change the constitution of the nation as like a one that was no longer a parliamentary system, but instead a presidential structure. There were a lot of these fucking dudes. Like, the thing is, Büyük Fethullah around like in diaspora, there's a lot of fucking Feto fans, but he's just like a random fucking CIA guy basically. It's funny because like I'm in a unique position. Because like I obviously am not a fan of the Erdogan government, right? But I also fucking despise Fethullah Gulen, and dare I say even more than I despise the Erdogan government, because not only are they both like fundamentalists, but one was also a fundamentalist working directly with the American State Department, versus like one is like directly in the pocket of the CIA, whereas the other one, at least like every now and then, will have, you know, will demonstrate some level of fucking autonomy, you know. But overall, it's like, it's really interesting to think about, because like Turkey, despite being a NATO country, has still kind of had their own like they've still had their own like fundy movements, I guess, like grow in prominence, and America played a big role in that. And the analysis from the American State Department at the time, and I'll get to Fethullah Gulen extensively later, but I guess like the one thing I will say is that, you know how the Western world like really beefed up the Wahhabists in the region and the Salafists, and they were like, oh yeah, these are going to be like our counterbalance to like secular pan-Arabic nationalist movements that sometimes were like social democrat or like socialist adjacent. Like, we can't have that. This is a resource-rich region. We can't have them align with the USSR. That would be devastating for the global economy from the perspective of the Western world. So they basically propped up those like Salafists and shit. And then America turned around and were like, uh-oh, these guys are actually kind of crazy, and now they're actually killing our people. I don't like that. What's a better way that we can promote Islamist thought, but in a more moderate fashion? And I'm not saying that Fethullah Gulen was more moderate. I'm saying that America perceived him as the more moderate counterbalance, because there has to always be a fucking, they always have to have one guy. Well, not just one guy, many guys, but there always has to be someone that they're propping up. And that was their guy. They saw, the American State Department saw Fethullah Gulen as a more moderate version of like Islamist fundamentalism that could be controlled, because Fethullah Gulen was living in the fucking Poconos, right? And basically, there are still a network of schools, Turkish schools, both in all around Africa, the African continent, all around the United States of America, all around the world, that are all Fethullah Gulen schools. A lot of the Turkish schools that you see outside of Turkey are Fethullah Gulen schools. There's a lot of Fethullah Gulen schools in Turkey. Enes Kanter went to one. I know this because he used to play basketball for Samanyolu and in Ankara when I was at Ankara College. So anyway, it's a very long, convoluted, you know, complicated situation to explain. But that's what it is. And fuck Fethullah Gulen, for the record. The TV show Samanyolu, I believe the TV channel is also owned by Fethullah Gulen. Now, Recep Tayyip Erdogan used like for the post-coup, and even before the coup, there was like a lot of you know, there was a lot of polarization between Erdogan and Fethullah Gulen. Basically, Recep Tayyip Erdogan was like, that's the main guy, that's our main terrorist, that's our main enemy. And there was a little bit of fucking reason, like decent reason for him to say that, except he basically used that to go after anyone and everyone that he considered to be an enemy, which is really interesting, because that's why there are still Recep Tayyip Erdogan defenders that sometimes come into my chat and say, you're a fucking FETÖ'cü. You're a Fethullah Gulen defender, which is hilarious. But anyway, while there is like reason for Recep Tayyip Erdogan and the Turkish government to not enjoy or appreciate Fethullah Gulen as a direct parasitic, you know, parallel state that they had propped up, the Erdogan government certainly used that valid reasoning and that valid interest in like targeting Fethullah Gulen and his cronies to basically fucking target everyone, anyone and everyone, including myself. Not the Turkish government targeting me for that reason, but ironically enough, plenty of fucking Recep Tayyip Erdogan defenders come into this chat in Turkish and will claim that I am a Fethullah Gulen supporter, which is hilarious to say, considering that I paint my fucking nails and am pro-trans, pro-gay, all that fun stuff. It would be very weird for people to point to me and say, you must be a fundy. But I guess I get hit on every avenue on that front. A lot of people say that I'm a fundy anyway from the opposing front, where they say, Hassan, you love Islamist fundamentalists. You love terrorism. You want more terrorism to happen. You are anti-Semitic. So yes, you are also a fundy. which is really interesting. Anyway, let's look at this. So this is an update. Streaming platform Twitch apologized after Israelis found they couldn't register as users. So, yeah, what my suspicion is I think what ended up happening, which is that like they were being overly cautious and trying to fucking stop like IP banning like everyone that is from Palestine or Israel because they use the same ISPs in creating new accounts so they can like upload footage of October 7th. I think that when people say copium overly cautious, I think they don't realize like they don't realize like you have to find an alternative reason for it. Okay? Like not only do I assume that this is largely because like they have this is the post austerity Twitch where they don't have enough fucking workers for anything really. But beyond that, I suspect that they probably took this initiative and then forgot to fucking change it, which I think is a massive fuck up for the record. It's completely unacceptable. I would never be an advocate for this, but we should think about the alternative reasons as to why they might have done such a thing and entertain them, specifically because of how fucking stupid it is to think of the alternative. Anyway. The popular video live streaming platform Twitch has been accused of anti-Semitism after Israeli users discovered they were unable to create new accounts. As revealed by Ron Barzik on his X profile, the company blocked users with Israeli internet addresses days without an official response, but eventually Twitch issued a lengthy apology on its X account, explaining its rationale and stating that the ban had been lifted. According to Twitch, the ban targeted the email verification process for creating an account. The company claimed it was part of an effort to prevent the uploading of violent content in response to the events of October 7 last year, when Hamas attacked a string of Israeli border communities, killing approximately 1,200 people, sparking the ongoing war. Twitch said the block was inadvertently left in place and was only lifted once the issue was brought to its attention, but many users took issue with the explanation, noting that the ban had appeared to be based on internet protocol addresses rather than email verification. It's unclear why the block persisted for months despite numerous complaints from Israeli users or why it was imposed in the first place. Critics also question why similar restrictions weren't placed on users from other conflict zones, such as Ukraine. This is not the only time that Twitch has faced accusations of anti-Semitism. Earlier this week, another controversy emerged at TwitchCon from the platform's annual convention. A viral clip from one of the panel's well-known streamers ranking other streamers on a scale of ranking ranging from Arab to Love Sabra, with the latter representing the lowest ranking. The Sabra hummus brand in the United States is a joint venture between PepsiCo and Israeli-based Strauss Group. Given that Sabra is also a common term for Israeli-born Jews, it's not, or at least like, not, I didn't even fucking know that. And the first person ranked at the bottom was a Jewish streamer, Ethan Klein, known as H3H3 on the platform. Many interpret the ranking as one from Arab to Jew. One panelist added, I'll just say it, there should be an even lower category called Zionist, which was met with applause from the audience. Klein himself responded in the short video on his YouTube channel, saying that the panelists have a history of making anti-Semitic comments under the guise of Israel or Zionism. He said he wasn't surprised by the incident. Klein also claimed that Twitch has a history of problematic behavior towards Jews, or at least a tolerance of anti-Semitic statements. He highlighted cases involving popular streamers Fresh and Fit, who posted anti-Semitic tweets, and Sneeko, another well-known streamer who praised Hamas. Both were temporarily suspended, but not permanently banned from the platform. So out of all of the criticisms that that Twitch has been taking in terms of like the anti-Semitism package, the onslaught of like anti-Semitism allegations, that paragraph right there is the only valid one. That is straight up. I mean, the IP block and not like restoring the IP ban or whatever the fuck is also unacceptable, obviously. And I do think that that's most likely oversight. But this, on the other hand, I do not agree with in any way, shape, or form. Just like I don't agree with any sort of like any sort of restriction from like making new accounts. Wasn't the IP ban also affecting Palestine? Yes, of course. So another notable case is the Hasanabi Turkish-American streamer who presents himself as a left-wing commentator on current events. Piker has hosted anti-American and anti-Israeli guests on his channel, including on one occasion a Houthi pirate who discussed the activities of the Yemeni Islamist rebel group, which is known for slogans such as "Death to America, Curse the Jews." Piker has repeatedly spread false information and anti-Israel propaganda, sometimes veering into anti-Semitism. Despite this, Twitch has taken little action against him, suspending him for just 1 week for a specific comment. Wait, what? Who wrote this article? They brought forward the cracker ban? Dog, what is happening? Are they just like, come on, man. I rely on Haaretz. I use it on a daily basis. I fucking love Gideon Levy. What the fuck is this? You guys are supposed to be real journalists, man. What the fuck? Come on, dog. So far, the platform has not responded to growing complaints from users accusing it of failing. I like that there's I like that they went, Piker has repeatedly spread false information and anti-Israel propaganda. Point to them. Can you point to the false information that I was spreading and anti-Israel propaganda? Now, this is, I think, worse than anything else because, like, this is a reputable paper. And I've said this before, as far as, like, Haaretz goes, like, obviously, there are fantastic writers on there, fantastic reporters on there, and then there's some fucking not so fantastic reporters on there. That is every fucking newspaper in general. It's interesting that they would, like, that this passes the smell test of, like, a decent report. I think it doesn't, right? Like, how is this, like, it's not even framed as an op-ed. It's just straight up, like, this is real news reporting. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. So tired. Like, why are we focusing on ripping apart a Twitch streamer? I mean, I think that ultimately it doesn't matter. You weren't contacted either. No, that's what's really crazy about it. That's like, I would have expected Haaretz to literally do a little bit more. I thought that they would have actually done like real reporting on it. Now, notice how they can't fucking grab onto anything because I'm very careful and very deliberate with my language, even if I have my pop-off moments or whatever. There's just not really much you can fucking point to. So it's always like second degree associations, third degree associations, who I've interviewed, you know what I mean? Like, and I've seen this happen before. It's just when the situation becomes like unmanageable, when there's no real way to like defend Israel's actions in the West, like you just have to try to fucking silence some of the biggest critics, right? And that's it. You interviewed an extremist who fought alongside the Kurds. Okay, don't tell the Turks that, but I have done that. I'm fed up with all the disingenuous allegations of anti-Semitism. Yeah. Did you see Stop Anti-Semitism tweet about you? No, man. Why are you? I don't give a shit, dude. Fuck stopantisemitism.org. They're fucking delusional. It's like one crazy woman from Long Island, dog. It's not like a reputable institution. What are you talking about? They're more predisposed with fucking yelling about Dua Lipa and Gigi Hadid than anything else. Okay, calm down. Yeah, it's no different than someone being like, did you see my tweet? Yeah, for context, that organization considers Bizan from Gaza, Greta Thunberg, Bassem Youssef, Jamal Bowman, Corey Bush, Rashida Tlaib, Gigi and Bella Hadid, Trevor Noah, Dua Lipa, Mehdi Hassan, AOC, anti-Semitic. They're fucking insane. Okay? The first two guys openly deny the Holocaust, and then they're like, this Hassan guy said the C word and mean things about Israel. I know. It just like doesn't really fit, does it? It doesn't really fit the bill, I don't think. It's disingenuous framing. I don't want to give it too much attention, but I suspect that this will be like an ongoing thing, an ongoing back and forth, non-freaking stop. And you know, it is what it is. I'm used to it. This has been happening for fucking 6 years now, you know? I'm getting the feeling that they've started an active campaign to smear you. I fear they won't stop until they deplatform you. Yes, there is not anything I can do aside from hoping that people will have the capacity in this barrage of ridiculous smears, that they have the capacity to be charitable. It is especially because I think especially because like most people understand where I'm coming from when it comes to the issue of Palestinian emancipation. Like, even if they're not primed with all the knowledge of like, oh, is this Islamophobic? Or even if they themselves might be a little Islamophobic personally, like they still, no matter what happens, like they still have this understanding that like what Israel is doing is kind of fucked up, right? Like that, I think that's what most people, like most people's approach, especially in our demographic, like under the age of 35, but even older now, is like, yeah, we should probably dial back at the very least. Like we should probably dial back what Israel's doing. And so a lot of this stuff will ring hollow because most people can see right from wrong. And I feel bad for other content creators on this platform. I feel bad for other content creators who are like also being targeted in the same way. No one should have to withstand this level of like cyber stalking and harassment. And since Gamergate, we haven't really figured out a coherent way, coherent and you know, successful way of dealing with this. Like there isn't any legislation around it. You know what I mean? It's just, it's very odd. But at the end of the day, it's super simple, dude. I do not believe that Israel represents all Jews. I think that that is inherently anti-Semitic. As a matter of fact, many Nazis also say that. Okay. And I don't know. I just don't think that it's like, I don't think it's appropriate to make this conflation. I think it is inherently dangerous to make this conflation. That's it. And I think that I know that Israel is an apartheid state. I know that Israel is conducting a genocide. It's an apartheid state on a good day. It's conducting a genocide in Gaza right now over the course of the past 12 months. If you don't have an issue with that, I don't know what to tell you. If you do have an issue with that, if you are frustrated by that, then good. Okay? But I think it's genuinely unconscionable to 95% of Jews support Israel. You can't change facts. You're just wrong. That's not correct. That one fucking statistic that people who want to defend the notion that like criticizing Israel is anti-Semitic, and people who are anti-Semitic both use this. Okay, this is the hilarious part about it, is that people who fucking despise Israel and are also anti-Semitic versus people who love Israel and are trying to defend Israel by claiming any sort of criticism of Israel is anti-Semitic say this exact same thing. Okay, it is insane. It is incorrect. There are two reasons for it. One, Zionism has a purposely and very deliberately vague, a vague definition. Okay, it's always changing. It's always fluid. That's number one. That's the main reason why most people are like, most Americans, if you ask them like, oh, do you think Israel should exist? Due to social conditioning and not knowing what Israel has been doing for the past 76 years, will go, yeah, of course, that makes sense. And then boom, they go, that's Zionism. And yeah, that number doesn't change across the board for any American or American Jews in general. That's the primary reason. Second, that statistic comes from one of the worst polls of all time. I remember doing a deeper dive about this. a while back. It's like literally a guy who asked like 10 people or something, and then they just fucking ran with it forever and in perpetuity. It unironically does not fit the bill. It doesn't fit the current understanding of Israel's actions. And it is a dangerous thing to consistently fucking wave around. Yeah, Jewish Currents did a deep dive on this, okay? Great article. Are 95% of Jews really Zionists? Polls of American Jewish opinion on Israel may not be asking the right questions. Okay? Barry Weiss in Tablet, in her first piece of writing since her resignation from the New York Times opinion section, in which she complained that the left had become too hostile to American Jews to support her point, she noted that 95% of Jews support the Jewish state. This statistic is commonly repeated in Jewish and mainstream media. This year, it's been cited in several opinion pieces and a peer-reviewed academic article. Last year, among various other appearances, it showed up in a Wall Street Journal book review, a New York Times letter to the editor, and a JTA op-ed. The statistic originates from an August 2019 article by Gallup senior scientist Frank Newport. In response to Donald Trump's controversial comments that American Jewish Democrats were being disloyal to Israel, Newport set out to examine Jews' political views. Drawing on the polling data from Gallup and other organizations, he contended that Jews generally have more favorable views of Israel than the broader American public. But nonetheless, once again, this is in 2019, but nonetheless concluded that Trump's actions in support of Israel to date have done little to shift Jews' largely democratic political allegiance. To support the former point, he included an estimate that 95% of Jews have favorable views of Israel. However, as Newport noted in the article, this estimate was not based on a representative survey of American Jews, which would be designed specifically to capture the views of a niche American community. Instead, it was aggregated from Gallup's nationally representative samples of all Americans over 5 years. In an email to Jewish Currents, Newport confirmed his methodology for reaching the 95% figure. He identified 128, it wasn't 5 people, it was 128 people who described their religion as Jewish in the broader studies and used that subsample for his calculation. He estimated that the margin of error for his calculation was between 7 and 10%, explaining, with small sample sizes, there is significant margin of error on either side of the point estimate, so the calculations are just that, estimates. Yet the statistic is rarely described in its context as Newport's back-of-the-envelope estimate, based on only 128 Jewish by religion respondents over 5 years. Instead, it is regularly repeated as a truism. cited as evidence that American Jews who are more ambivalent about Israel are an insignificantly small minority in the community. Soon after Newport published his piece, Forward Opinion editor Batya Ongar-Sargon admonished non-Jewish progressive leaders not to use the supposed 5% of anti-Zionist Jews as cover for movements that are unwelcoming to the 95% of Jews who have favorable views towards Israel. Tablet senior Yair Rosenberg encouraged people to get out of their Twitter bubbles. The Newport calculation is just one of several statistics that Jewish commentators frequently cite as evidence for pro-Israel consensus in the Jewish community. Yet, as this case shows, many journalists, pundits, and even academics often misunderstand polling methodologies, resulting in serious miscommunication of these results to the public. In Newport's figure, the size and composition of the sample is suspect, but the polls that specifically sample American Jews rather than Americans generally can have shortcomings due to the wording of the questions. Most surveys that ask American Jews about Israel-Palestine implicitly assume that a respondent's relationship to Israel is generally positive and relatively uncomplicated, while also operating within the rapidly fading framework of a conventional two-state solution. At the same time, questions usually do not directly measure other values that American Jews might hold, such as concern for democracy or Palestinian human rights. Limitations and biases for existing polling, combined with the miscommunication of the results in the press, make it easy for Jewish leaders to dismiss those who dissent from the establishment consensus on Israel. In the process, the public is deprived of a more accurate snapshot of trends in American Jewish perspectives on the Jewish state. One other factor to consider here is the obvious insane level of social conditioning. Okay? One thing that I've talked to with a lot of incredibly intelligent Jewish anti-Zionist friends of mine, and I've done these conversations, I've had these conversations on the broadcast, as you guys know, is the notion that, especially for a lot of Reform Jews, which is a pretty large block of American Jews in general, is that Zionism has basically been substituted as a religion, as a secular religion for a lot of American Jews in their upbringing, okay? There is a tremendous amount of social conditioning at play here. So with all of that and the vague generalizations of what it means to be a Zionist, okay, the polling data on this is not going to be entirely accurate of the reality, okay? For some, and I'll give you an example of this, for some, it simply means like, can Jews live there, okay? For many, as a matter of fact, it just means like, can Jews live there? Now, when you ask that question, of course everyone's going to say yes. I think yes. My answer is yes to that. Does that make me a Zionist? No, of course not. Do you understand? For others, it means Israel must maintain a demographic majority built around the ideology of religious and ethno supremacy. Okay? For the broadest majority and the actual real definition, that's what Zionism is. So when people are angry about this kind of thing, they're angry towards that notion that is materializing in front of our eyes as Israel has maintained an apartheid state for 76 fucking years and is currently conducting a genocide for the past 12 months and now is bombing the shit out of Lebanon on top of that. A seven-front war, as they say. So, like, of course, people are looking at that and going, no, that's what Zionism is. It's happening in front of our eyes. It's unfolding. Man-made horrors beyond comprehension. That's what they see, because that's what it is. Do you understand? Anyway, after all that, Lamau, my bad, this poll isn't reliable. Thanks, man. Anyway, in an interview with Jewish Currents, Matthew Boxer, an assistant research professor at the Cohen Center for Modern Jewish Studies and Steinhardt Social Research Institute at Brandeis University, the only people on Twitter that have ever said unkind things about my wife or daughter are Zionists. I'm not saying the Nazis are the Bond dogs or whomever wouldn't do that. I'm just saying Zionists are the only ones who ever have. That's Izzy. So that's why I was laughing with Noah when he was on. I was like, who would the president of ADL, Greenblatt, who would he kill first? Would he kill me or you? Like, if he lined us up and he had one bullet, like, you're an anti-Zionist Jew, and I am an anti-Zionist Muslim. I don't know who he has more smoke for. I think it's him. I think the ADL despises the presence of anti-Zionist Jews, especially so prominently featured in the pro-Palestinian, anti-Israeli apartheid movement in this country. And I think it's very frustrating that these guys not only exist, but have existed historically and are very fucking vocal. Okay? And they're not a tiny, minuscule minority, no matter how hard people who want to defend Israel claim that they are. Not only are they on the right side of history, not only are their moral compasses correct on this issue, okay, but they also do not represent a tiny marginal fucking constituency. It's ridiculous to say so. It is, I would say, anti-Semitic to say so, as a matter of fact. Do you know any good polls on this subject that we can look at instead? Maybe this one has it. Anyway, regarding the sample size of 128 respondents, Boxer explained it's not large enough sample that I would feel particularly comfortable reporting estimates from it. Boxer also pointed to the fact that those 128 Jews came from nationally representative sample of Americans, rather than of American Jews, specifically, which could misrepresent Jews in a million different ways. Most national surveys that ask for religious identification do not include Jews of no religion, those who consider themselves Jewish by culture or ethnicity, but do not consider Judaism their religious identity, a group which comprises approximately 22% of American Jews, according to a 2013 Pew survey of American Jews. Since JNRs consistently express significantly less attachment to Israel, their exclusion skews results. A subgroup of nationally representative sample poll will also be less accurate because Jews are distributed in the population differently than non-Jews. For example, American Jews are more likely to live in urban and coastal areas than the typical American, but in a nationally representative sample, you're not drawing disproportionately enough from those urban locations to get the proportion of Jews who live in those places, Boxer says. According to Boxer, this rural-urban divide can have multiple effects on accuracy when taking a subgroup from a nationally representative sample. So this just basically picks apart why this poll is like very stupid. But, I mean, this is from 2021. Poll finds a quarter of U.S. Jews think Israel is apartheid state. Also, 22% of respondents believe Israel is committing a genocide. 67% say denying Jewish states' right to exist is anti-Semitic. This is in 2021. If you were to ask the broader American public, they would probably have the exact same approach. If not even a smaller percentage of Americans at the time would probably consider Israel to be a fucking apartheid state. Just so you understand. And remember, this is a product of tremendous amounts of social conditioning, okay? Schools and cultural institutions that are designed to create a sense of community are almost always singularly united on this one fucking issue. And in spite of all of that, there are still so many prominent anti-Zionist Jews. As a conservative, I was told to hate you for your beliefs, and I have, but your rant just changed my understanding of Israel and the control of the Zionists. What do you mean control of the Zionists? America uses Israel as a weapon, okay? You need to understand that. We use Israel as a weapon. Israel might be a willing participant in this process, and certainly the Israeli government is, and certainly many parts of Israeli society are willingly on board. But make no mistake, we are the ones who fucking give the weapons, and we are the ones who say, go off kings. Okay? That's it. That's the reality. We are the senior partner in this coalition, not them. They do not control America. We control Israel. So every single conversation that we have, you should remember that. Okay? Anyway, how Americans view Israel, Netanyahu, and U.S.-Israel relations of 5 charts. More than half of Americans had a favorable view of Israel in 2022 survey versus 41% had an unfavorable view. Majority of Americans ages 65 and older had a favorable opinion of Israel. That hasn't changed. This is in 2023. Okay, Republicans and Republican-leaning independents were more likely than Democrats and Democratic leaners to have a positive view of Israel, 71% versus 44%. Conservative Republicans were especially likely to express favor, 75%. Majorities. Doesn't that strike you as odd, by the way? Doesn't that even like remotely fucking ring any alarm bell whatsoever? Is that there is one group that is firmly committed to Israel's bloody death and destruction campaign, and that is white evangelical Protestants. Has that not rang any fucking alarm bells in anyone's minds? Because there are plenty of kind, progressive, thoughtful American Jewish Zionists, okay? And on the issue of Israel, they are just so firmly aligned with some of the most rabid freaks. How does that happen? It requires a little bit of fucking scratching the surface, a little bit of re-examination. Jesus Christ, Twitter research, Jesus Christ's community has changed. Twitter research, dog, why are my haters blind and deaf simultaneously? We are currently looking at polling from Pew Research, brother. What are you saying? Like, do you not see what's in front of your fucking eyes? Like, what is wrong with you? My haters, I am I genuinely think my haters just like are not responding to even shapes and colors in front of them any longer. They're just responding to like what they perceive I am doing. They hear common talking points from like haters, and then they just delude themselves into thinking that is what's going on, and then they hallucinate an alternative reality. Anyway, majority of Protestants and Catholics had a favorable view of Israel compared to around 4 in 10 religiously unaffiliated Americans. In 2022, Americans were more likely to have a favorable opinion of Israel than its government. 2/3 of Americans saw the Israeli people favorably. Far fewer had a favorable view of Israeli government. Other center research shows when Americans are asked to assess other countries, they tend to focus primarily on that place's government as opposed to its people. For example, Americans are more critical of China's government than of its people. About a quarter of Americans said in March 2023 survey that they had never heard of Netanyahu, but among those who had, more saw him negatively than positively. Some 42% of Americans said they had no confidence in Netanyahu to do the right thing. Most Americans, 74%, said in 2022 that the relations between the United States and Israel were good. Older Americans were more likely than younger ones. This is from 2022. Where's the 2023 research? I thought this was literally the 2023 research. Germany's most trusted and most neutral public news media published a video in 2017 explaining how to test if criticism towards Israel is anti-Semitic. They called it the 3Ds test: demonization, double standard, and delegitimization. I don't want to hear what Germans have to think about their metric for what they consider to be anti-Semitic. In May 2024, a survey was conducted among American Jews from the Jerusalem Center for Security and Foreign Affairs. In the aftermath of the Israeli Defense Forces' entry into the Rafah border area, President Biden's announcement of a potential arms embargo, here were some of the key findings. How concerned are you for your family's future as an American Jew of what you have seen from the campus demonstrations? Okay. A big chunk, 28% said a great deal. 27.79% said a lot. 22% said a moderate amount, 13% said a little, and 8% said not at all. This is important to set the standard because this is an audience that is primed into thinking that any kind of pro-Palestinian sentiment, very obviously, like those that were demonstrated by the campus protesters, is actually anti-Semitic inherently and is rising anti-Semitism in the country. Think about that. Genocide accusations. Approximately 1/3 of respondents agreed with the accusation that Israel is committing a genocide in Gaza, while about half disagreed. This sentiment aligns with concerns over personal relationships with non-Jews, which have been negatively affected since the start of anti-Israel demonstrations in the United States. Okay? Israel has been accused of genocide by pro-Palestinian activists. Do you agree with that contention? This is like not exactly framed in a positive way either, by the way. This is already an inherently negative framing on this question. And even then, 12% say strongly agree, 17% say agree, 18% say neither agree nor disagree, and then 24% say 24% say disagree, 26% say strongly disagree. These poll results, especially when broken down on demographic boundaries, specifically of age, will show you a snapshot. Will show you a snapshot that is damn near identical to that same exact demographic difference, attitude shift for the rest of the American society. Non-Jewish Americans and Jewish Americans break down on the exact same age boundaries. Okay? Hassan, it feels like you're a one-issue voter. Am I crazy for saying this? What? Hassan, my problem is how you speak about geopolitics. You give Kamala far more credit for the crisis than other pro-Israel Republicans. Wait, what? No, I don't. And also, what do you mean? You think I agree with Kamala on almost everything except geopolitics? Do you just like tune out when I fucking shit on Kamala Harris for literally hitting the center right talking points on every single fucking issue? Like, do you guys go, la, 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 I can't hear you? No, my criticisms, and I talk about this in this Newsweek article, as a matter of fact, revolve not around the issue of Israel-Palestine, which is a uniparty decision regardless, okay? It doesn't matter if a Republican is in charge. It doesn't matter if a Democrat is in charge. The genocide will continue. Okay? As a matter of fact, my suspicion is that it will get marginally worse, even though genocide is the maximum thing you can do, if under a Trump administration. Okay? Like, that's my assessment on this issue. Whenever I'm doing domestic political analysis for the upcoming election, I do talk about Gaza because it is an important issue in terms of like capturing a base of support or feeding into the momentum that you've gotten. But beyond that, I'm more often than not talking about Kamala's immigration policy or the Democratic Party's immigration policy that is noticeably shifted to the right of where they were in 2020, to the exactly prime to what the Trump administration was hitting on 2020, as a matter of fact, including but not limited to building the wall. These are the types of things that I talk about. And it's not necessarily that I just like talk about it with myself. I literally have prominent journalists from the New York Times on to discuss these matters. I have journalists that used to work with Washington Post now write at Semaphore. Like, it's not like I just, sit around and just talk shit. Anyway, and it's ironic because, yes, this is her worst issue. New Post Scholar School poll of battleground states finds that Harris has a 10-point lead on healthcare, a 22-point lead on abortion. Trump has a 16-point lead on inflation and a 15-point lead on the economy. On the issue of U.S. policy on the Israel-Gaza war, 31% say Harris would do a better job. 45% say Trump would do a better job. Do you understand? That is not only a crisis of communication, but that's also a crisis born out of her ineptitude on this issue. To be fair, in most polls, people rank it like the least important thing when it comes to voting. That is also objectively untrue. There are many polls conducted on this. It's in the top 5, okay? But it doesn't even matter because when I talk about Israel-Palestine, I don't even talk about it directly as like this is the magic fucking shift. Sourcers, yes, there's an NBC. Where is it? It's number 5 on the NBC polling. It is literally above in terms of priority. It is above gun control, which is crazy. Okay, foreign policy. Guys, I love Hasanabi just has zero enthusiasm to defeat Trump. Well, bro, the Republicans are way worse. Am I wrong? Republicans are monstrous pieces of shit. Okay, and there is never a moment where I have not ever fucking mention that reality, okay? I say it every single fucking day. You are primed into not hearing me because you are primed into thinking you're not doing enough to defend Kamala Harris. That's it. Like, that's it. I have long maintained the position that there is not much I can do if the campaign itself is putting out certain kinds of communication. If the campaign itself is putting out bad ideas, for example, no matter how comfortable or how reliable of an orator one might be, it's not going to fucking move the needle. And the example I use is Tim Walz. Tim Walz is a fucking gem, okay? Tim Walz is a gem. Straight up. I think we all agree, right? We all like Tim Walz. He's a gem. And when it comes down to it, when he has to defend certain things like, yeah, we should let Israel nuke Iran, or when he has to defend certain things like a right-wing immigration policy, right, that the Democrats are pushing for, he is objectively bad at talking on those issues. But when he talks about defending trans people, when he talks about defending reproductive rights for women, when he talks about fucking feeding the poor and the hungry, he pops off. Because that's something that he's passionate about. Those are good policies, and he's great at communicating those good policies. You cannot massage the narrative enough to talk about a fucking opportunity economy and $50,000 in tax cuts for small business owners. It's just not going to work because it's not only bad policy, but it's also hard to fucking talk about that in a positive framework, okay? Here, issue in the 2024 election. Economy, healthcare, Supreme Court appointments, foreign policy. Out of all voters, it's the 4th priority. That also is obviously Ukraine as well, for the record. Okay? Yeah, it's above violent crime and weirdly enough, immigration in this one, which is crazy. This was the NBC poll that I was talking about that showed that top priorities for Americans. Here it is. Do you consider any one issue so important that you would vote for against the candidate solely on that basis? Abortion, 22%. Immigration and border security, 19%. Protecting democracy or constitutional rights, 18%. The cost of living, 16%. Israel's military conflict against Hamas and Hezbollah, 9%. Guns, 8%. Healthcare, 7%. Social security and Medicare, 6%. So yeah, it's pretty prescient. Like it's an issue that like is not a top priority for many Americans because foreign policy is not a top priority for many Americans. I've said this long before this point in the election. I always told you that like American foreign policy is not supposed to be in the forefront because if it is, Americans will go fucking crazy thinking about how violent we are, right? So that is deliberate. We kind of tend to hide what we are doing all around the world and how much money we're spending to continue doing the things that we're doing all around the world while we don't fix the fucking potholes over here or offer healthcare over here or offer college education over here. So that's one of the reasons why Americans don't necessarily care about foreign policy when they're making a decision on elections. Foreign policy is rarely ever the most significant thing that people vote for until it becomes the only thing that they care about. This happened with LBJ as well. This happened in Vietnam. Now, having said that, has it arrived at that point for a lot of Americans? No, but it is that point for many Americans that are in key constituencies, in key districts that Kamala Harris must win. And that is significant, especially when there is no counter to it. You do not get any kind of punishments for it, okay? It's a gimme. A lot of times the Democrats talk about how, well, these guys aren't demanding anything from us. The Republicans are just going to vote for us simply because they don't want to vote for Donald Trump. They say that all the time. What they fail to recognize, and I'm really worried about this because I do not want Donald Trump to win, and I'm really fucking worried about this, is that every single time they come out in defense of the Republican Party while they're running against the Republican Party itself in the general election, they end up hemorrhaging certain parts of their base that they take for granted. Young voters, Latino voters, black voters, and the like. Okay. This is a huge problem. It's not only a huge problem, I think, from the electoral calculus, because I'm looking at a map and they're looking at an entirely different one, I believe. But beyond that, it is a ginormous problem for the future of this country. We are ratcheting towards fascism. We are bouldering towards fascism, and the Democrats are willing participants in this, and I don't like that. I am fucking terrified of that reality. When one side is saying we're going to do mass deportation and concentration camps, and the other side is saying we're going to do, some deportation, maybe not mass deportation, and we'll build the wall. When in 2020, 4 years ago, you had one side saying, we're going to do mass deportation and concentration camps. And the other side was saying, no, we're going to do a pathway for citizenship. We're going to do amnesty. We're actually going to do the exact reverse of Donald Trump's immigration policies. And that side won. You have to understand, like, we are building, or rather priming, in my opinion, the broader American electorate to be fine with this dangerously right-wing Nazi sentiment. Okay? Is she actually for the wall? I don't feel like I've seen that. Yeah, probably because you don't live in Texas or any number of the swing states where they're running like Kamala Harris in front of the border wall. She's prosecuted transnational gangs. She definitely is presenting herself as that, and it doesn't even matter. It's in the bill that she says she's going to pass. And it's not doing shit. Republicans are still at 92% Trump support according to polls. Is insanity. Yeah, you're not picking from Trump's base of support, I don't think. So for a Brit, it confuses me that there seems to be focus on the Middle East and improving the living standards and not those who are literally living paycheck to paycheck. Who cares about buying a house when you can't afford to feed yourself? Yeah, but that same problem exists in England too with the Labour Party. They're doing the same shit. Yeah, so it's actually kind of disgusting how you're trying to both sides this. You're taking your country for granted if you don't see the existential threat the Republicans represent. Brother, I'm not both sidesing this, okay? I'm not at all. I think you are not understanding what I'm saying. There's only one side in this, and that is fascism. And every single step that the Democrats take in normalizing that to their own base of support is dangerous and completely unacceptable, okay? You can say you're both sidesing this all day, every day. I still ultimately do not want Donald Trump to win. I do not want mass deportations in this fucking country. You are out of your mind. The problem is, if I were to talk to Democrats, as I did in 2020, I could at least make a convincing case that the Democratic Party, even if they weren't going to follow through on their agenda, genuinely presented the humanity of immigrants in the way that they communicated on this issue. They were against Donald Trump's border policies. 2024, they are pushing for Donald Trump's border policies, but a lighter version of it. And that is really devastating, especially because that means that the Democrats have now conceded to the Republicans on the framing around this issue, that immigrants constitute a threat to American national security. And what's to make matters worse, to add insult to injury, this idea is born out of nothing. It is a right-wing hysteria that has successfully captivated the minds and hearts of so many American voters. That is deeply frustrating because the Democrats don't have to do anything but just point to the truth and say, you are lying when you say immigrants are killing hundreds of thousands of Americans, that immigrants constitute a national security threat. That's all you need to do. Say that they're lying and show exactly how they're lying and then humanize migrants. But they never did that. If you want to engage in lesser evil voting, that's fine by me. I'm not going to fucking sit here and ever tell you like, oh, don't vote for Kamala Harris. That'd be fucking insane. I will, however, tell you not to vote for Donald Trump. I do understand the situation at hand. I think that my fears here are significantly larger than just like this upcoming election. That's it. I fear that at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break, for example, and you can avoid those ads. The media is completely controlled by the right. Absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely it is. Yes. Here's a 3-minute ad break now. Anyway, so we talked about how Americans are reading it. Is YouTube Connoisseur still in the chat? Because he directly was like, I don't believe Americans care about fucking Gaza or whatever. Okay? And I mean, these polls show that they definitely do care about it enough. And not only do they care about it, but they're fucking falsely believing that Donald Trump represents a better alternative on this front. Okay? Anyway, it's terrifying for the future of this country. But going back to it, poll finds a quarter of U.S. Jews think Israel's an apartheid state. This is back in 2021. How Americans view... Oh, here, this is a newer poll on this, I think. This is from August 21st, 2023. This, on the other hand, is from May 30th. How Americans and Israelis view one another and the U.S.'s role in the Israel-Hamas war. Americans have less confidence in Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu than Israelis have in U.S. President Joe Biden. Only 30% of U.S. adults express some confidence, while around half, 53%, no confidence, express not much confidence. An additional 15% say they have not heard of him. By contrast, more than half of Israeli adults have some or great deal of confidence in Biden to do the right thing regarding world affairs, whereas 42% have little or no confidence in him. That's crazy. When they say Trump would be better on Gaza, don't they mean from an anti-Palestinian perspective? Some in the Republican right, yes. They look at it as Trump is like full-blown 100% even more pro-Israel than Joe Biden is. They're also fucking delusional, and they think Joe Biden isn't maximally pro-Israel. Like, there's no... Joe Biden is like actually fucking maxed out on this, right? And yet many of them don't see it as such. But there is a shit ton of Americans who correctly blame the current administration for these violent actions that are unfolding in front of their eyes, because it is the Democratic Party that is letting it happen. So they fantasize that Trump would be fucking better ultimately, because the other polls conducted on this matter show that like Americans by massive fucking margins, including but not limited to Republicans by 54%, want a ceasefire. They want to stop Israel blowing up houses and families. So that's the reason why Trump can just like kind of fucking kick back and at certain points be like, I love Israel, I'm the best for Israel. And then other points just shut the fuck up in a mainstream, in most of these conversations, you can just shut the fuck up, kick back, and make Americans make up what his position actually is. Most people don't know what the fucking Abraham Accords is. Most people don't know that Trump is like unimaginably fucking pro-Israel, more so than even fucking Kamala Harris is for sure. Maybe not more pro-Israel than Joe Biden. That's like they are maxed out on that front. Israelis' opinion on Biden have turned more negative. Americans' views of Netanyahu have turned more negative over the past year. Share of Israelis with a favorable opinion of U.S. has declined. Broad majority, 77%, continue to see U.S. favorably. This is down 10 points since last year. Views of the U.S. significantly more positive among Jewish Israelis than Arab Israelis. They are much more positive among Israelis who place themselves on the ideological right and in the center than on the left. Americans' views of Israeli people are broadly positive, but fewer express favorable views of the Israeli government. 64% of Americans had a favorable view of the Israeli people. 41% voiced a favorable view of the Israeli government. These are terrible. Around 7 to 10 Israelis want to see the U.S. play a major diplomatic role in resolving the war, but Americans are more divided. Okay, this doesn't even show what I was looking for, which is like specifically American surveys on American Jews. Oh, only 28%, going back to the JCPA survey, only 28% viewed the demonstrations as purely anti-Israel, while 35% saw them as anti-war and pro-peace. A quarter of the respondents received the demonstrations as both. With regard to the campus demonstrations, would you describe them as anti-war, pro-peace in Gaza, or better as anti-Israel? Anti-war, pro-peace, 34%. Anti-Israel, 28%. Both anti-war, pro-peace, and anti-Israel, 25%. Neither. Best described as something else. This is a stupid question because it is all three of those things. They are anti-Israel. Like, yeah, no duh. Of course it's anti-Israel. They were demanding divestment from Israel. Technically, it's 100%. 100% should say it's all three. It is anti-war, it is pro-peace, and it is anti-Israel. President Biden's actions there is strong support. Over half of President Biden's decision to withhold arms shipment to Israel, with significant minority, about a quarter, disagreeing. Biden also enjoys substantial support for re-election, leading Trump by a wide margin. However, 90% of respondents felt that President Biden takes the Jewish vote for granted. What is your opinion regarding President Biden's decision to withhold arms shipments to Israel if Israel invades Rafah? Strongly agree, 22%. Now, the reason why I wanted you to understand this is because these guys literally look to the college campus protests and are fearful of what is to come for the future of Jews living in the United States of America. And that same group also recognizes that the protests are, one, anti-war and pro-peace, and two, they also strongly agree at 22.5% and agree at 30% that Biden's decisions to withhold arms shipments to Israel if Israel invades Rafah. They agree with Biden on withholding arms shipments to Israel. Now, of course, the reality of the matter is Israel did invade Rafah and Biden did not stop arms shipments. But please understand that, like, the American Jewish voters are not monolithic in their understanding or in their examination of Israel at all. Okay? Only 11% disagree and strongly disagrees at 11% as well. Most people speak of the two-state solution, independent Palestine. That part is whatever. Yeah, but I get the impression these pollsters are using anti-Israel as anti-Semitic. No, dude, I'm just simply stating that, like, this is ridiculous. This is a ridiculous fucking attitude to present, as though, like, one, all Jews are monolithic. All Jews are monolithic and they only care about fucking Israel is ridiculous. It's an anti-Semitic statement, okay? There are polls on this as well. We looked at was it a Times of Israel poll or a Haaretz poll that was conducted on American Jews. Israel was their 9th priority in the top 10 priorities. 9th. I mean, it's what some of the most online communities are hitting by as the talking point right now. Yeah. U.S. Jews 18 to 34 divided over whether Israel's response to Hamas' October 7 attack is unacceptable. Amongst all adults, the number is 33%. Ages 18 to 34. Percentage of Jewish Americans who say the way Hamas carried out his attack on, yeah, of course it's unacceptable. It was. Like, it's understandable. No one is going to be like, no, it was fucking awesome. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, it was awesome to kill like 800 fucking civilians. Of course not. Some might say that, but it's a fucking ridiculous position. Anyway, 42% of Jewish Americans aged 18 to 34 in this last survey conducted on April 2nd say that the Jewish Americans say the way Israel's carrying out its response to Hamas' October 7 attack is unacceptable. That percentage is reflective of the 18 to 34% demographic across the board. It's a little bit lower, but ultimately it is quite similar to the age demographic breakdown. As for why the war is being fought in the first place, 77% of Jewish adults, including a majority in every group, says Hamas is the reason for fighting Israel, are not valid. But Jewish adults under 35 are much more likely than older Jews to say that Hamas's reasons for fighting are valid. 31% of younger Jews take this position, compared to about 1 in 10 ages 35 and older. By comparison, 89% of Jewish Americans say that Israel's reasons for fighting Hamas are valid, far more than 58% of U.S. adults who say this. Younger Jews are less likely than their older counterparts to say Israel's reasons for fighting Hamas are valid, though about 8 in 10 more in every age group say this. Most Jews say Israel's reasons for fighting Hamas are valid. 16% say the same about Hamas's reasons for fighting Israel. Anyway, the rest of it is just like, you know, America's role in it, yada, 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 all this shit. By the way, this is Donald Trump on Gaza. He's messaging better than Harris. Yeah, I saw this one. Donald Trump's appeal to Michigan's Arab American voters is this. Michigan, key swing state, highest concentration of Arab Americans in the nation. Harris, let's campaign with Liz Cheney. This is what Trump said. Arab voters are very upset that Comrade Kamala Harris, the worst president in the history of the United States, and a low IQ individual, is campaigning with dumb as rock, war hawk Liz Cheney, who, like her father, the man that pushed Bush to ridiculously go to war in the Middle East, also wants to go to war with every Muslim country known to mankind. Remember, Liz Cheney lost their congressional seat by the largest margin, 40%, in history for a sitting congressperson. If Kamala gets 4 more years, the Middle East will spend the next 4 decades going up in flames, and your kids will be going off to war, maybe even a third world war, something that will never happen with President Donald J. Trump in charge. For our country's sake and for your kids' sake, vote Trump for peace. Now, is Trump honest about this? Of course not. He would light the fucking world on fire. He did do that, for the record. He is not a peaceful dove. But the problem is, and this is the exact same issue that Hillary Clinton ran into, Donald Trump was effectively able to turn around and say, Hillary Clinton is a warmonger. I am not. I'm an outsider. And people responded positively to that. This is something that I fucking told you guys over and over and over again. As a matter of fact, I told you this. The only thing that is keeping Trump away from he is the real peaceful dove message is that Trump gets ahead of himself too much, and he can't stay consistent on his narrative that he is a peaceful dove. He's too much of a fucking idiot, and he no longer has the juice nor the sauce that he once had in 2016. This is the reason why he hasn't been able to effectively communicate how he would be better. But it doesn't really matter, because here and there he just drops these like hints and positions himself against the Democratic Party that's not even fucking openly countering this kind of narrative, because they can't, because they've already firmly committed to this one position, which is why having this conversation with people who are defending the Democratic Party in all of these like extremely online circles is really silly. You are arguing for a position that the DNC is not arguing for. If you were to turn around and tell me that Kamala Harris is going to be so much better for migrants, for the future of this country, you are literally outflanking the Democratic Party when you say that. Because the Democratic Party is not saying that. The Democratic Party is saying, no, we are the border control party, not the Republicans. That's the Democratic Party's messaging. You, online, cannot communicate a different message. You cannot outflank the Democratic Party on this stuff. You cannot fantasize about their position being different than they actually is, especially when they have $1 billion fucking dollars. That's what they're choosing to spend their ad money on. That's what they're choosing to spend their campaign contributions on. That's the foot that they're presenting. That's what their best foot forward is that they are the border control party, and the Republicans are hypocritical for claiming that they care about the border and not doing the border. Do you understand? Do I believe that Donald Trump will be better on fucking Gaza than Kamala Harris? Fuck no. I don't. Of course I don't, because I'm not a fucking idiot, but it doesn't matter. Most people are stupid, or most people want to believe that like at least something might be different. Okay? And the primary responsibility of a campaign is to identify that inconsistency and fucking hammer it. But if the campaign is locked into a position that is inherently reactionary, they can't do that. And that's precisely what's going on with the Kamala Harris situation. To be fair, man, isn't it because immigration is literally the number one issue that the right is convinced everyone is a huge issue? There's no time to change the narrative. Yeah, except I've been saying this since 2020, since 2021. I've been saying this since 2021. There's video evidence of this. We've looked at it on stream. I've talked about how if the Democrats don't fucking counter message against the Republican Party on the right-wing mania that they surround on the issue of immigration, they are going to lose on this issue. It's not like I haven't been yelling about this for fucking years. I just repeat myself every fucking day. So when people go, oh, this is a sunk cost, this is, they're too locked in. They're laser focused on this matter. It doesn't matter. It's not like this is the first time I've tackled this. I've been fucking yelling about it for years. And now we are living in that reality that I predicted would happen. And yet people still go, seems like you don't care about the future of American democracy. Yeah, Haaretz wrote this opinion piece. Netanyahu not only wants Trump to win, he wants to be able to tell Trump he helped him win. Thomas Friedman argues in the New York Times article. Exactly. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, I know. I know Trump has said the exact opposite of what he's saying here, chatter. I know we covered this. This is more honest, okay? This is more honest. This is a more honest framing of Donald Trump. He lies about everything. What do you, like, I don't know what we have to, I don't know what I can say. He also said the other day that he's the father of IVF 3 seconds after admitting that he didn't know what IVF was until the Alabama senator called him up. And he was like, I learned about it immediately in 2 minutes, better than anyone has ever learned about IVF. And now I'm the father of IVF. He said he has been a defender of IVF since day one, and then openly admitted that he didn't know what the fuck it was in the same conversation. It doesn't matter. People are fucking stupid. For the past 4 years, it seems like people have just been slamming their fucking head against the goddamn wall. They're like, I don't know. They just pick whatever they pick and choose whatever they want to hear because Trump is charismatic. They have short-term memory. They have no fucking memory of what it looked like when Trump was president. They forgot about it completely. Okay? They only remember negative real wage growth under the Biden administration and how shitty it was. That's all they remember. So they're like, oh, Trump is great on the economy, I think. And that's why they vote for him. And it's like, what is he going to do for the economy that's going to help you? I don't know. He's just great on the economy. It's stupid. It's stupid as fuck. Having said that, however, a competent party is supposed to look at the fucking table, okay? Look at the board, look at the game, recognize that Americans are fucking stupid, and then tell them, recognize where they are hurting and say, we're going to fix that. That's what they're supposed to do. Israel announced they're hiding Hezbollah tunnels under hospitals 2 hours ago. Just 30 minutes ago, they bombed the front of a hospital in Beirut. Jesus fucking Christ. Why should they do anything different, honestly? Why should they? They could say that there's a fucking... There's tunnels under a hospital in DC and they could bomb it and America would be like, oh, I don't know. I guess they're right. Yeah. Great. Their Arabic spokesperson. Hezbollah keeps hundreds of millions of dollars in paper currency and gold under the coastal hospital in Haret to finance its terrorist activities. We revealed dangerous information about Hezbollah placing the shelter of the so-called Hassan Nasrallah under the Sahel hospital. Oh, God. They're fucking gearing up to blow up every goddamn hospital in Lebanon. Holy shit. I don't know what to say anymore, dude. The director of the Al Sahel Hospital, Fadi Alameh, says the Israeli allegations regarding... I don't know what this is. I don't know what these OSINT accounts are. I need, like, direct quotes. Yeah, they bombed a bunch of banks, and they were like, these are Hezbollah banks. It's like, dog, they're banks. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Israel makes sensational allegations against Sahel Hospital in Beirut, directly a part of the Gaza playbook, and called on the Lebanese government and international organizations to recover these purportedly stolen funds and prevent their use of terrorism. In response, Fadi Alameh, the hospital's director, strongly rejected the accusations, called for the Lebanese ministry to investigate, and asserted that the Sahel hospital has no ties to any political parties. The hospital, he confirmed, had been forced to evacuate. That's where I was born, Lamau. Well, sorry. Once they fucking hit that 3D simulation, you know it's about to fucking erupt. What is this shit? Okay. This sounds like some American conspiracy theory shit. Money stashed into hospitals for terrorist funding. How stupid. I mean, it doesn't have to be smart. It does not have to be smart. It doesn't matter. Hezbollah's gold mine catches fire. Nasrallah's bunker under hospital held $500 million. Yeah, they're running with this narrative. Did you not see this one in your video feed this morning?
يعود لعائلة الشريف في مشروع بيت لاهيا. الآن يرتفع العدد إلى 22 شهيدا عبد القادر نتيجة هذه المجزرة الكبيرة بحق عدد من العائلات في محيط مسجد القسام. طبعا أحد المنازل الذي تم استهدافها هو منزل يعود لعائلة الشريف عبد القادر. هو منزل يعود لعائلة الشريف في مشروع بيت لاهيا. طبعا في هذا المنزل يتواجد عدد كبير من النازحين. عبد القادر كما تحدثنا عن مجزرة يوم أمس أن النازحين لجأوا عند الأقارب ليستقروا في هذه المنازل لكن أيضا
now in the massacre we're talking about 22 people killed from the initial accounts of this massacre. This is Al Jazeera journalist Anas Al Sharif. He was reporting live on air when he found out his relatives were killed by an Israeli airstrike. I don't even want to finish this, dude. It's so dire. It's so devastating.
أصيلة أولية مجزرة بالتأكيد عبد القادر.
Relatives, he says, indeed. And also the home that belongs to the Obeid family and a house that belongs to the Al-Darawi family. A home that had the most people in it was the Al-Sharif home, which had several floors. 22 people have been killed there as a result of the Israeli airstrike on this residential square known as the Beit Lahia project. Dozens of injured people and dozens of missing people. Most of them were women and children. Israel's air attack in Beit Lahia killed at least 87 people, with many missing under the rubble, and injured 40. Israel reported it was exaggerated and not as bad as being reported. This was reported in Al Jazeera. Yeah. What is this? Scoop from Barak Ravid. Israel gave the White House its demands for ending the war in Lebanon. President Biden's envoy, Amos Hochstein, is visiting Beirut on Monday to discuss possible diplomatic solution with Lebanese officials. Remember, Amos Hochstein is the guy who, alongside another Biden official, was the one who was like telling Israel to go and invade Lebanon, giving them the go-ahead. Some of the bullet points apparently include: one Israeli demand is that the IDF be allowed to engage in active enforcement to make sure Hezbollah doesn't rearm and build its military infrastructure in the areas of southern Lebanon that are close to the border. The official added that Israel also demands its air force have freedom of operation in Lebanese airspace. It's the exact same. It's this exact same playbook. Then they can turn around and be like, well, you know, that there's you have to accept the occupation or else you're, you know, fucking up the peace talks. You have to accept everything on our framing. Ben-Gvir hosts a Gaza resettlement conference. Far-right National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir leads the crowd in song at Preparing to Resettle Gaza conference, which took place over 2 days on Israel's southern border with Gaza. Gvir was greeted by eager applause from the crowd. "We are the owners of the land," he told them. "And when we act like it, this is what brings results." He repeated his call to encourage Gazans to voluntarily transfer to other countries because that land belongs to us. Let's be clear, no one can control Israel right now. An arms embargo would mean they would run out of weapons in 2026. That's bullshit, dog. That is bullshit. Because here's why it's bullshit. Because they don't have the defense capabilities without the United States of America. Okay? And not only do they not have the defense capabilities, America regularly fucking refills all of their offensive munitions as well. The idea that they would simply not run out of fucking munitions if America wasn't steadily supplying them with with armaments, with munitions, with bombs, is wrong. Okay? But it doesn't even matter. The moment that America says, you're done, it's over. Why? Because if they were to say, you're done or else no more weapons, that means Israel will not be able to defend itself. Okay? That means it's over. It's done. Because if they still continue bombing after America says, no, you're done, then there are a shit ton of other financial pressures that America could apply to Israel. Every Israeli general and every Israeli politician knows this. Netanyahu is seen as a reasonable leader. We are not the only suppliers. We supply 70% of their fucking munitions. You are wrong. You are obtuse, either intentionally or you are just not knowledgeable on the matter. We supply 70% of their weapons, dude. We supply 70% of their weapons. 70. 70. We're not the only suppliers. It's such a funny fucking take, especially because it doesn't matter. Because when America says you're done, you're done. Okay? That's the point. Pressuring America is not the winning angle of attack. Wait, what? Yeah, I mean, this is 65.6%. Sorry, what now, liberals? I got owned. Major arms transfers volume from 2013 to 2023, 65.6% is from the United States. 4.7% is from Italy, and Italy has said that they are reconsidering their weapons transfers to begin with, and Germany supplies 30%. Germany can shoulder that load alone. Yeah, exactly. That's a delusional take. Especially considering that Italy is already fucking Italy is already saying like maybe we shouldn't be giving you guys these weapons right now without America even changing their attitude. You are out of your dang mind. America is off. America is literally creating not the permission structure, but like the damn near entirety of the social and political capital being expended to defend Israel in the global stage right now. That's it. The United States is overwhelmingly the biggest supplier of arms to Israel. In 2023, 69% of Israeli arms imports came from the U.S., according to a report into international arms transfer by the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute. Germany was the second largest, providing 30%, followed by Italy with 0.9%. The UK, France, and Spain were among other minor contributors. The U.S. imported weapons have played a major role in Israeli military actions against Hamas and Hezbollah, the think tank reported, noting that at the end of 2023, thousands of guided bombs and missiles were delivered from the U.S. to Israel. F-35 and F-15 fighter jets were also delivered to Israel from the U.S. in January 2024. CNN analysis identified multiple instances that the U.S. manufactured munitions were used throughout the war, including strikes that killed civilians. Recently, CNN found the U.S. manufactured 2,000-pound bombs were likely used in the Israeli attack that killed Hezbollah's leader, Hassan Nasrallah, in Beirut. The U.S. also provides financial assistance to Israel, delivering over $130 billion in bilateral funding since 1948, according to the U.S. State Department. In 2019, the two countries signed a memorandum of understanding that ensured the U.S. would annually provide Israel with $3.3 billion from the Foreign Military Financing Program and another $500 million for missile defense. If America's role in this wasn't so important, okay, then Israel wouldn't spend hundreds of millions of dollars in propaganda and lobbying in the United States of America. They wouldn't be cutting commentary both in Hebrew and also in English, okay? It is ridiculous. It is like so obvious. And when you refuse to recognize this reality, you are at odds with what fucking like the Israeli military members say. You're at odds with what Israeli politicians say. Benjamin Netanyahu's primary selling point is that he knows how to deal with American politicians. That is the reason. He is seen as the security candidate and also the guy who knows how to deal with America. What? You feel about using the same tactics as Donald Trump and Bebe, in that you deflect from any on all valid criticism directed towards your controversial and perceived bigoted views, all while praising gangsters and criminals? Just wondering if you're able to see this in your rhetoric and actions. Only paying attention to what you agree with is dangerous to your mental health and your community's well-being. Can you give me some examples that aren't just utterly delusional in terms of like what what the real criticisms are directed towards my controversial and perceived bigoted views? Because depending on where people are coming from, there are plenty of insurance executives and members of the mainstream media that would consider my views on Medicare for all to be quite controversial. You might consider that to be ridiculous. I like that you also couched it as perceived bigoted views, because you also secretly, or at least internally, you also understand that like I do not hold bigoted views, but maybe some of the things that I say might be perceived as bigoted, because I do try to represent myself as deliberately as possible. Now, of course, I'm going to have emotional, heated moments where something might come across as like different than what I believe, but even then, you know, the settler babies comment is pretty crazy and comes across as bigoted. Yeah, I don't think that is appropriate, chatter. What are you talking about? I don't think that people should be allowed to kill settler children. Why do you think I fucking advocate for a one-state solution? Because I literally claim, openly state, that 750,000 Jews live in the West Bank, in occupied West Bank, and forcibly expelling them from this land that does not belong to Israel, that Israel is illegally occupying, would be an unimaginable harm. Baby settlers. That's crazy to fucking hear the exact opposite argument that I'm making and then claim I'm making the pro argument. So, do you care about the truth? Do you actually care about my perspective? Or do you want to just like shit smear? If you want to just like lie about my positions, then yeah, go ahead. The point was that there are settlers who are babies. You can't just go murdering settlers indiscriminately because there are babies. That is what Hasanabi said. I'm so sick of the baby settlers bullshit. I know. Anyway, go to dunk but don't reach the rim. Yeah. Wait, you're telling me you're not in favor of murdering babies? The only baby murder I'm in favor of is abortion, baby. That's right. Abortion all the time, nonstop. You are now getting slandered on another H3H3 live podcast episode. If you see unhinged shatters, now you know why. Yeah, it's fine. It happens. It's just like if I were to address some of the most common, supposedly like valid criticisms launched against me, I would have to sit here and repeat my talking points over and over and over again. Okay? At that point, I urge you to be charitable and go seek out this information in the readily available format that is provided to you. Go to my fucking YouTube page and watch a single fucking video on the matter, and you will very quickly arrive at your own conclusion. Okay? That's it. They didn't listen to you the 14 times you said it. Why would listen to the 15th time? Yeah. Once again. Are you excited for the start of the NBA season tomorrow? Sure. Wait, what? Breaking 4 people killed, including a child, and 24 wounded is the Israeli strike on the premises of Beirut's main public hospital, Rafik Hariri University Hospital. This is just now from Iraq bureau chief of Reuters, Timur Azari. They targeted the banks yesterday, and they brought forward that same classic, they brought forward their same classic fucking argument. Hezbollah's gold mine catches fire. They're saying that there's a bunker full of money under the hospital now, and tunnels under the hospital, which means it's worthy of striking. Will there ever be a moment where people say, hey, you guys said this every single time you struck a hospital and then provided zero evidence after the fact? Is there a point where, the rest of the world will just go, enough? Enough. Yes, I saw. The CNN article is insane. He got out of Gaza, but Gaza did not get out of him. Israeli soldiers returning from war struggle with trauma and suicide. Now, this is a very common article that is written specifically about like IDF vets and shit in regular frequency. I'm just shocked that because the genocide has gone on for 12 months, that while it's still happening, they've already started writing these articles. Americans do it too. There's only one thing that I find particularly interesting in this, which is the mental health toll. Mizrahi deployed to Gaza on October 8th last year and was tasked with driving a D9 bulldozer, a 62-ton armored vehicle that can withstand bullets and explosives. He was a civilian for most of his life, working as a manager at an Israeli construction company. After witnessing the massacres committed by Hamas, he felt he needed to fight. The reservist spent 186 days in the enclave until he sustained injuries to his knee, followed by hearing damage in February when a rocket-propelled grenade struck his vehicle, his family said. He was pulled out of Gaza for treatment, and in April was diagnosed with PTSD, receiving weekly talk therapy. His treatment did not help. They didn't know how to treat them soldiers. Jenny, who lives in the Israeli Ma'ale Adumim settlement in the occupied West Bank, said, they, soldiers, said the war was so different. They saw things that were never seen in Israel. For the record, this is part of the reason why a lot of the fucking dudes who tour Gaza end up joining Breaking the Silence. Oh, Maya is here. Okay, hold on. Doors open. Fuck, I forgot. And we're gonna move on to some less sad stuff. We're gonna do a little fun reset from this. Hello. Yeah. When Mizrahi was on leave, he suffered from bouts of anger, sweating, insomnia, and social withdrawal, his family said. He told his family that only those who were in Gaza with him could understand what he was going through. He always said, no one will understand what I saw. Jenny wondered if her son killed someone and couldn't handle it. He saw a lot of people die. Maybe he even killed someone, but we don't teach our children to do things like this. So when he did this, something like this, maybe it was a shock for him. Guy Zaken, Mizrahi's friend and co-driver of the bulldozer, provided further insights to their experience in Gaza. We saw very, very, very difficult things that are difficult to accept. The former soldier has spoken publicly about the psychological trauma endured by Israeli troops in Gaza. In a testimony to the Knesset Israeli parliament in June, Zaken said that on many occasions, soldiers had to run over terrorists, dead and alive, in the hundreds. Everything squirts out, he added. Zaken says he can no longer eat meat. Now, if you have no interest, if you have no fucking interest in understanding the humanity of the people that are being bulldozed over like Rachel Corrie was, okay, then yeah, you look at this and you go, the only people that are human in this story are the people driving the bulldozer and not the fucking people that they're driving over. Perhaps that's the reason why the trigger warning for this article is not harrowing, gruesome acts of violence against an entire population that's being genocided, but instead a trigger warning for suicide. Because CNN understands, just like we do, that the victims, those who are in the crosshairs of Israel, are not human. They're simply terrorists. Okay? Zakin says he can no longer eat meat as it reminds him of the gruesome scenes he witnessed from his bulldozer in Gaza and struggles to sleep at night. The sound of explosions ringing in his head. When you see a lot of meat outside and blood, both ours and theirs, then it really affects you when you eat. He maintains that the vast majority of those he encountered were terrorists. The civilians we saw, we stopped them and brought them water to drink, and we let them eat our food. He recalled, adding, and even in such situations, Hamas fighters would shoot at them. There's no such thing as citizens, he said, referring to the ability of Hamas fighters to blend with civilians. This is terrorism. Like, the guy is literally talking about how he exploded people by driving his fucking bulldozer over them and then saying, oh, there were some civilians. But then he immediately says, oh, there are no civilians, actually. This is terrorism. Yeah, not what you did. The real reason why they are experiencing PTSD is because no human being should be tasked with engaging in such gruesome acts of violence. But the other reason why they're experiencing PTSD is because deep down inside, they do recognize that they're exploding human beings. And no human, regardless of how fucking primed they are into assuming that these guys are all enemies that must be fucking brought to heel, will be able to experience normal life after doing that sort of thing. When soldiers do encounter civilians, however, many face a moral dilemma. According to the IDF medic who spoke to CNN anonymously, there was a very strong collective attitude of distrust among Israeli soldiers towards the Palestinians in Gaza. I wonder why. There was a notion that Gazans, including civilians, are bad, that they support Hamas, that they help Hamas, that they were hiding ammunition, the medic said. In the field, however, some of these attitudes change when you actually see Gazan civilians in front of your eyes. The IDF has said that it does all it can to minimize civilian casualties in Gaza by including sending text messages, making phone calls, and dropping evacuation leaflets when to warn civilians ahead of attacks. It's exactly like Vietnam. Sometimes civilians attack us. Instead of thinking, maybe I'm the bad guy, all civilians become the enemy. Yes. I've read about the lack of morale in the Israeli battalions due to them having to go to the same points in Gaza, like we see now with northern Gaza being attacked again, and how the soldiers go to a house they've been to over and over again as a base, and there's booby traps everywhere each time they return. They think clearly the battalions really haven't eliminated anyone. Israelis aren't terrorists at all. Brother, how can you look at the output of any military whatsoever that so deliberately and so deliberately engages in like insane amounts of violence? I assume that guy was being sarcastic. We just watched someone talk about their crippling PTSD because they ran over someone with a fucking tank, dude. Yeah. CNN tried to do a sympathy piece on IDF soldiers, and then halfway through the article, you find out this guy was a D9 bulldozer driver that regularly drove over people while they were alive. Here is I Really Hate You, BM. Same D9 operator, Guy Zaken, with his friend Eliran Mizrahi, who killed himself recently, were interviewed in April. They said they destroyed 5,000 houses of terrorists, but when asked, how did you know they were terrorists, they clarified that every house is a terrorist house. This is the guy that killed himself, I think one of them is. What is the noise in the end? I missed this. Why is this noise in the end? An explosive device that we drove over while we made a video. Another one of the many surprises they made for us there. How many houses did you demolish? You wrote somewhere 1,500? We got to 5,000. 5,000? Yes, and more. Zama 271. It's documented, proven. A whole unit. Our company. YouTube. We stopped counting. 5,000 houses of terrorists, of course. Someone goes, the anchor goes, how do you know it's terrorists? We had a lot of, there's no house where there isn't a surprise waiting for you. There's no such thing as a house you go into and there's nothing there. Yeah, dog, they are defending their homes from you. Like, what do you mean? Of course they are going to do, like, oh my God. Oh, like you have to think about this. Like the pivotal attitude shift must occur at a simple point. If someone is coming with a bulldozer after blowing up your entire city block, if someone's coming with a bulldozer and you're about to evacuate, do you leave a surprise for the people? If your answer is no, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? Like, it is like, I don't understand how people can just like be so callous in their indifference to human lives. It doesn't make any sense. It does not make any fucking sense. Wow. We were running around with weapons and breaking and entering and destroying people's fucking houses, and they weren't too fond of us is crazy. Like, yeah, why the fuck would they welcome you, dog? What are you talking about? You're killing a shit ton of civilians. And also, I think the guy is from a family that is a settler in the West Bank. Notice CNN chose to use childhood footage, not of them, of the hundreds of people this Israeli soldier killed, but of him as a child. The frame is inside his family home in an illegal West Bank settlement. Yeah. I think it's important to notice, and as many people are noticing, that, this framing itself is like already setting the standard for the inhumanity of the victims of Israel and the only humanity of the perpetrators of violent actions, which, by the way, ironically, The Onion wrote a piece on as well. IDF soldier recounts harrowing heroic war story of killing 8-month-old child. CNN published a piece today about Israeli soldiers returning from Gaza. One bulldozer driver testifies that they drove over Palestinians dead and alive in the hundreds. It's crazy that, like, this conversation is framed around the psychological trauma of the soldier that fucking drove over hundreds of Palestinian bodies. But because he says they're terrorists, it's okay, I guess. IOF are inept in general, too. One of the guys in my DSA is an anti-Zionist Israeli retired journalist. The Israeli occupying force killed his wife, her mother, and his children some years back. I can't get the archive link to work, though. IDF killed my family, but refused to take responsibility. U.S.-born Brian Atinsky, who lost his wife, children, and mother-in-law in a horrific crash. The military truck is campaigning to change Israelis' behavior behind the wheel. But yeah, there is a morale loss among many of the people. It is not an accident that the overwhelming majority of Breaking the Silence IDF veterans are comprised of people who actually went in and sieged Gaza prior. Okay? Do you understand? Based on interviews with soldiers and families across units, it's described as a suppressed but growing phenomenon. This is from Hamakam. Quiet and muted refusal. Regular fighters are no longer willing to continue fighting. We don't understand what we're doing here. From the army to the commando brigade, from Gavati to the paratroopers, more and more fighters from all infantry units testify that the erosion and opacity of the IDF left them no choice but to refuse. The piece opens with a striking anecdote. This is from senior fellow at CI Policy, Sina Tusi, Center for International Policy. The center opens with a striking anecdote. In September, the Nahal Brigade began its 11th round of combat in Gaza, but out of a platoon of 30 soldiers, only 6 showed up. The rest claimed medical exemptions. I call it refusal and rebellion, says the mother of one soldier. The wards are empty. Everyone who is not dead or injured is mentally damaged. There are very few left who return to fight, and they are not completely healthy either. Remember the old statement from both the Algerian Liberation Front and the North Vietnamese Liberation Front, as a matter of fact. You can kill thousands of us. We have nowhere to go. All we have to do is wait it out. That's why Palestinians say that our existence is resistance. This is why I told you that for many in I told you that, like, Israeli society is developed in a way that is Western adjacent. And for that reason, because Israeli society is developed in a Western with a Western vision in mind, there is a level of comfort that they are used to. So when you put a shit ton of these reservists into direct combat, like harrowing combat, and tell them, like, go crazy, and then you rip their normal understanding of the world, you rip them away from their normal understanding of the world, like, they're not going to fucking come back and be normal ever again. It's over. One IDF soldier explains that the growing shortage of manpower means missions are done halfway. He adds that the platoons are empty. Those who aren't dead or physically wounded are mentally broken. Very few come back to fight, and even then they aren't fully okay because there's no SDF. So things are done halfway and the mission is not really carried out well. They are not really protected. When you are told they will come to replace you, it's 50-50. The wards are empty. The soldiers notes that all of this was happening before the escalation in Lebanon and the current ground incursion. He says, I don't know why, what army they will think they'll enter Lebanon because there is no army. I'm not going back to the battalion. The article states that this is a suppressed but growing phenomenon of soldiers refusing to fight. The unity and sense of mission that once drove them has faded. They fought until their last ounce of strength, but reached a point where they just couldn't continue.
Israel, the ongoing conflict after Hamas's October 7th terror.
The Israeli reserve is refusing to fight in Gaza. Anyone who says all of this is happening for Judaism is wrong and immoral. Okay? Anyone who claims all of this death and destruction is being done in the interests of Jews and that all Jews agree with this is wrong. Okay? It is unironically anti-Semitic. The question I have is, what do you think will happen? What do you think will happen? There is so much. There's only so much death and destruction. There's only so much death and destruction until, like, Israeli society collapses in its entirety. Seeing some crazy anti-Semitism in the chat, but I guess keep patting yourselves on the back. That's insane, dude. You are literally hearing my words come out of my mouth saying that these harrowing accounts of death and destruction that is collapsing Israeli society in its entirety should never be associated with Judaism or the Jewish people, and that it is literally anti-Semitic to do such a thing. And you're hallucinating that there is some crazy anti-Semitism going on. If you see anything anti-Semitic that the mods have not cleaned up in the chat, report it to the mods and we will deal with it. Someone said Jews run the world. Do you think that we didn't immediately clap that person? Do you think that there's a 10-minute or there's now a longer follow limit, as a matter of fact. If you've been in here long enough, even though you haven't, you've been in here since July, okay, you probably have noticed that there are a shit ton of trolls in this chat. They got banned immediately. There you go. Yeah, true. Jews are awful. Boom. Banned. Like instantly. 1408. Yeah, true. Jews are awful. Banned. 1408. Here's another one. Well, Jews run the world. 1407. Banned immediately. That's ridiculous, man. I'm not talking about what you're yapping about. I'm high as balls. My bad. You can respond to me, but not your co-host. Calm down. They just want you to spend a whole stream just showing a list of people banned from your chat. Yeah. It's fucking ridiculous. Oh, I'm just high, man. Sorry. Yeah, you must be high. There's a genocide ongoing. I'm trying to do my very best to communicate the humanity of the victims of said genocide. And you're over here being like, well, sorry, the 5-second time frame in which your mods clap anti-Semitic sentiments in the chat is not adequate for me. That's crazy. Anyway, that's crazy that like after 12 months of genocide, the only time you're primed and activated is to like ban one of the fucking largest content creators speaking out against such said genocide in North America. That's cool, man. Really showcasing your fucking motivations here. That's crazy. Come on. Trying to use an avenue that is so fucking repugnant too, to say like, oh, this guy is anti-Semitic. His community is anti-Semitic. When it's not something that I believe in, it's something that I've actually railed against my entire fucking life. Anyway, we are going to move on for a little bit to some fun stuff, and then we'll get back to main matter at hand. Okay? There's a lot of poll watch that we need to do. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that this is like the moment that you're coming in here. There's like, it's just, no, it's fine.
Hey guys, I feel like it's like maybe not the best time. I don't know.
No, we're here to learn about animal facts.
Okay.
Hold on. I wanted to explain to you that, like, you know, are you hungry?
No.
You're not hungry. Okay. Maya's in the building, everybody. Maya Higa.
Hi everybody.
Of Alveus Sanctuary.
Hello.
I tried to explain to her that like things get a little heated on especially Mondays, but well, not necessarily heated. We're in a unique predicament because like there's a lot of crazy stuff happening, but you know that Mondays are usually news days. I try to do this on Sunday to be fair, but we weren't able to do so. Do you see her eye? Look at her left eye. It's red. Oh, you can't tell? Okay, that's good. That means it's no longer as bad.
Are you sure? I can wait for like an hour.
No, it's fine. Well, let's do it.
I feel really bad and really weird.
It's fine.
Hello everybody. My name's Maya. This was planned ahead of time. And so I'm just here on schedule. Just here to hang out. Wait, why are you like naked?
What do you mean?
Facially.
Oh, I shaved because people kept saying that I was like a anti-Semitic Muslim fundamentalist terrorist lover. So I was like, I gotta look more white. Oh, you asked? That's the reason.
I stole a sodi.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Hello everybody. I'm here for morale. My name's Maya. I have an animal sanctuary. Hassan's been there. And I just thought it'd be fun to teach you guys some stuff about animal sex. Some of my viewers yesterday were saying that you said we were going to do like a tier list or something.
No, I thought that's what you wanted to do. That's why I was like, do you want me to get a board or something for you?
No.
No?
No.
Do you have a PowerPoint presentation?
Yes.
Something we can look at? Okay, if you Discord DM it to me, I'll put it up.
I'm doing that. I have curated a presentation for you all.
Can I show you something before we get started on animal sex?
Yeah, as long as it's good vibes.
Okay. Chat, where's the ticklish video? Let's go. Someone has the link. Not the ticklish like song, but the actual video that we found. Oh, ew, I can't believe it. Okay, don't look at the screen.
Why?
It's just I don't want to spoil it. Does anyone have the link? The comparison. Does anyone have the link?
What are you guys talking about?
That we found it. Watch this.
Uh-huh.
Did you know this?
No, I did not know all these specifically, no. I do have some fun sperm facts today, so this is a great segue.
This is a classic.
I like the music.
It's a copyright-free song called Ticklish that they're using that I like to play when we watch car chases that occur regularly in Los Angeles, California.
1.5 billion per milliliter. I didn't know that one. That's crazy. 9 billion per milliliter. Oh, that's
Chicken have 4 to 6 billion per milliliter.
That's some crazy cock. You could have laughed. I thought that was funny.
Sorry, you're right. That was a banger. Muscovy duck, brown bear, they nut hard.
Okay, play it like that.
Barry Balls, thank you for the 74 gifted subs.
74?
Yeah. Barry Balls is another 10. How did scientists find out about this? I don't know.
Oh my god, it's so many.
Man is 5 milliliter per ejaculate, and the sperm count is around 20 to 150 million per milliliter.
Gross.
Yeah.
Can I see the end? I just want to see the last one. You want to watch the whole thing? We can watch the
Yeah,
whole
we
thing.
were watching the whole thing.
Okay, sorry. Giraffe being less than camel is strange. Bull being more than camel is strange. Ram being more than bull is strange. Oh, no, it's not. Because
I don't understand. Yeah, the sperm count is like, I think they're saying like how many
Potency.
milliliters per ejaculate
Right,
is what
right.
they're talking about. But like the sperm count is actually, there was a couple there that was like a billion, you know, like
Right, right,
5
right.
billion earlier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dolphin, almost a billion per milliliter. That's a wide range. It's like 7 million to 990 million. So some dolphins are just like, they got crazy sperm.
I imagine it's hard to take samples because they probably float away, you know?
Yeah. 2 billion sperm count for
Wow.
dogs. Rhinos nut hard. And so do horses. I know that from
We've
my
talked
time
about
working
jacking
at,
off
yeah,
horses, yeah.
it's fucking awful.
Sure.
Jesus, 20 liters?
Sure.
20 liters per ejaculate?
Do you know how big their penises are?
No.
Yes.
Like a car, like a Toyota Prius.
8 to 10 feet long.
God damn!
Do you know how much they weigh? How much the
Penises?
penis weighs?
How much?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know. Is 8 to 10? You said 8 to 10 meters? 8 to 10 feet long? God damn. Okay. 8 to 10 feet long. It's gonna be 700 pounds.
Like 150.
Oh, okay. Jesus Christ. Oh, so they got like
I mean, don't act like you're not impressed by that.
they got like slinkies. It's gotta be, right?
I mean,
Is this like
I'm 100 pounds and I'm 5 feet tall. So I think it's just like if I was 8, yeah. Like, if I
Yeah,
was 8
you'd be
feet
like
tall.
a slinky. You like Wemby is what a whale penis probably looks like. Like
what?
long. Yeah, Wemby. He's an NBA player. He's
Oh.
very long, and he's like around 8 feet
Okay.
in length.
All right. Cool. Well, I have a lot of cool penis facts for you guys. I DM'd you the presentation on Twitter.
Okay.
Um.
Okay. Zoo fan art stream. Show Maya.
Aw. That's cute.
I know we had a wonderful time. This is we're gonna also have a wonderful time. We're gonna recreate having a wonderful time now, in spite of all the things that are going on in the world. This is an opportunity for everybody to forget about all those things. We'll get back to it in a little bit. Here's the link you sent me.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about
This is
boinking
just
and
titled
doing it.
Sex. Oh fuck.
Yay, my presentation. I made this. Oh, don't spoil.
Okay. What do I do? Do I just like
Is
can
there-
people
is there a way to
click on the
present it?
link?
They can click on the link and view it, but you can probably just full screen it, right? And then move it.
Okay, hold on.
Yay!
Let me full screen it. Boom.
Oh, it's cute. I made this smile. Why does it have grid on it?
I
Why does it
don't
have
know.
grids on it? I don't like the way that looks. Wait, did you get watermarked for some reason? Because you don't have...
Yeah.
Okay, I think... Let me log into my Canva so that we don't get watermarked for this whole
Okay.
presentation. Because that's cringe.
Okay, you're right.
Google.
Sign up with your work
No,
email.
continue with Google. I'll sign it.
No. Let's just do it like that. Here.
But then you have to pay.
No, you have sign in.
Yes,
no.
continue with Google.
I know, but it's gonna automatically try to log in with my Google account.
Use another account.
I know, but then it's gonna show your account always on here. Here, do it. Do it. It's hidden anyway. Hold on. Don't change the. I gotta pee. Hello, Kyle.
What is he, like 39? I'm logging in. I'm hacking into the mainframe. Hey guys, how's it going? It's been a minute. It's been a minute since I've been here. I hope you guys are doing well. Maya takeover. Should I do some crazy shit? Should I sabotage? Sorry, I'm two-factoring. Yes, do some crazy stuff. Why is it having me two-factor twice? It doesn't trust me. I guess the whole like verifying through YouTube thing is dumb, right? I feel like it never works. Oh, it worked. Okay, it worked. Yay, we're in. Okay. By the way, if you guys want to check out Elvis Sanctuary on Twitch, you can do that. I'm just going to throw that out there. I do have an animal sanctuary, and we have 24/7 cams on them all the time. You can go watch the animals all the time. It's a really great second monitor. If you know, if you're listening to us on talk about whatever and you want to have it up on the side, you can do that. Just saying. Okay. I have
Okay. Someone said W plug. Did you plug?
no.
Grid view, scroll view, present full screen.
Present full screen
Okay. Should we play a song while this goes on?
if you want.
Okay, I got a really good one.
Welcome to class, everybody. Please get out your pencils and paper. There will be a quiz at the end, and if you fail, you flunk out of the class.
Okay. Sex. A
Sex.
presentation by Maya for Hassan and Hassan's chat. Let me move us. Where is it better to put us
Yeah,
here?
there's good.
Okay.
Okay, welcome to my presentation, everybody. It's called Sex. It's for you, and it's for Hassan, so you guys can learn some things. You can go to the next slide.
Do I just click?
I don't know, I guess. First of all, we should start with what is sex? And Hassan is going to answer this question for you.
Sex, like as in like having when a man and a woman love each other very much.
Yes.
The act of that, is that the question?
Yeah, I just think it'd be good to like set some context before we have this
Yeah.
conversation. Like, what is it?
Chat, when a man and a woman love each other very much, okay, they get together and a stork comes in and delivers a baby 9 months later.
Okay.
That's, I think, how it's done.
Sure, that's fine. I'll take it. Thank
Okay.
you for the intro.
How is it done?
Also, or when a woman and a woman.
Yeah, or
a
when
man
a
and
woman
man,
and a woman.
Or 3 men.
Yeah, or
Or 4 men
you
and
could
2
do
women,
you could do
or
an
4
orgy.
women
There's
and
many
2
different
men.
ways of doing it. I was just thinking like as a reproductive unit.
Yes, we are going to be talking about reproduction today.
Yeah,
Okay,
because there's
so
sperm and stuff on there.
first of all, because we were talking about sperm, and because you guys are Twitch chat, and you'll probably think this is funny, the next segment, you can go next, is on wieners and different kinds of penises. So I thought I would start off by telling you about them. The first one was already spoiled. The largest penis is what, Hassan?
My penis.
Ew.
I had to do it. I'm sorry. Okay. The largest penis is blue whale.
And how long is it?
It's 8 feet, 8 to 10 feet.
And how much does it weigh?
It weighs 150 pounds.
Yeah. Nice.
Why are you shocked? I retain information.
I'm just impressed. Okay, so that's the largest penis on the planet. What do you think is the largest penis to body size ratio on the planet?
Ooh, 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 ooh. Okay, so something that I've learned.
You can go full cam.
Something that I've learned in I'm a little bit knowledgeable on this stuff. Also, don't show your screen to anybody. Spoiler alert. Yeah, they'll see. They'll see your notes.
Screen.
They'll see your notes and then they'll spoil it. I think it's got to be like something tiny with like a ginormous penis, because from what I understand, like a lot of penis size is directly related to like sexual competition. I think, like for example, gorillas that I believe gorillas that like already dominate in other avenues, like with strength and whatnot, are like establishes the alpha in the pack. Other reasons, so like their penises are tiny, so they don't have to have like there's not a lot of like competition sexually, I think. So for a
lot of them know. A lot of chat knows.
Wait, really? I haven't looked at chat. So it's got to be like something small with like not like a lot of sexual or with a lot of sexual competition, but like they're not necessarily like violent. So I'm gonna go with, could be like a fish, maybe.
The barnacle.
What, a barnacle? What the fuck is a barnacle?
Is right. It's a crustacean. You know, the things that like are on the bottom of boats.
Oh.
Like they get stuck on the bottom of boats, or when you get mad and you say barnacles.
I've never gotten mad and said barnacles, but okay. What the fuck? Where's his penis?
I don't. Is that the underside of a barnacle? The picture under
barnacles
it,
like you've never seen before.
the picture under it is what a barnacle looks like from the top.
This right here?
Mm-hmm. So its penis comes out from like the top, from that hole, and it's 8 times their body length.
8 times?
8 times their body length. So you're what? Like 6 something, 6 feet tall.
I'm 6'4".
Yeah, so that's 8 times Hassan's body length if he was a barnacle.
That would be insane. I feel like that's hard to bring around. You know what I mean?
Well, it's like,
but I guess they pack it. They pack that shit in.
It's retractable. You know? The reason it has to be that long though is because they can't move. Like they attach things, they get stuck there, so they have to reach.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
They're lazy lovers, it seems.
Yeah. Well, they can't move. So.
Yeah. Typical.
That is the largest penis to body size ratio. Now we're gonna go quantities. Generally, when we think of penises, we think of 1, right? But for animals that have 2-headed penises, platypus have 2-headed penises, snakes have 2-headed penises.
Oh fuck!
Snakes is called a hemipenis.
Okay.
2 heads.
Why?
Better odds.
Wait, really? Is it to like have a threesome? Is that what it is?
No. Snakes.
Like they're just getting down and dirty. They got. Someone's saying echidna has 4 penises.
Echidnas have a 4-headed penis. You know what an echidna is?
No.
It's kind of like a spiny anteater. It's a monotreme from Australia. You'll probably recognize it.
I'm looking up echidna penis.
Oh well, it's.
Whoa! Is that TOS? I don't think I can show it. That's weird as fuck. Yo, it looks like there needs to be 4 circumcisions conducted. Like that's what it looks like.
It kind of looks like a little little hand, a little bit.
It does. It does look like it. Can it pick up things with this penis, you think?
No, but we'll get there.
There are some penises that can pick up shit. I feel like that'd be so much better. Like you could just, dude, have you ever picked up stuff with your feet?
Yeah, all the time.
It's liberating, right? If I could pick shit up with my penis, I would do it all the time.
All right.
Like I would literally just like fucking swing it around, picking stuff up left and right. It would be so sick. It'd be like a party trick. Like I would literally deploy it at parties with consent, of course.
It kind of looks like a little hand. Echidnas have a 4-headed penis. Theirs is actually really cool. The reason that it's 4 heads is because female echidnas have a 2-segmented vaginal tract. So it's like it goes 2 at a time, but they can alternate between 2 heads and 2 heads. They alternate pairs, so then they can have double the sex.
The fuck? Are they like nutting super hard? Is that what it is?
Or frequently, or Yeah.
Are they having better sex than we are?
I wouldn't know.
Isn't that like a thing where people say like pigs experience orgasms for like 30 minutes long or something?
I mean, there are animals that mate for like days at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, echidnas have a 4-headed penis. Yeah, snakes, hemipenis, platypus, hemipenis. They come in all different sizes, quantities, whatever. The next category is weaponized penises.
What does that mean?
Actually, first of all, garden snails. Okay, so like literally the snails that you guys are used to seeing. Snails, their goal is stabbing each other. Snails are hermaphrodites, which means they have male and female reproductive organs. But
Like
both
seahorses.
of them, I don't think seahorses are hermaphrodites.
Are
they?
Or they can.
Maybe they are.
No, they can. They have the capacity to change their sex.
Okay, so they're hermaphrodites.
Yeah, like they can if they're. I don't think they're like. People are saying no. I don't think like. I thought seahorses would like if there's not any female seahorses in the area, like the male seahorse can like switch and become female.
That's what would happen in Finding Nemo. Do you know that? Finding Nemo had a mom. Nemo had a mom and his dad, and then his mom died. So what would have happened to IRL is his dad would have switched sexes because they're hermaphrodites and would have become a female, and then probably would have fucked Nemo.
Ew, gross.
Snails are hermaphrodites.
I'm glad that they didn't do that in the show.
Yeah.
I'm glad he went on a journey to find him instead.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would have been weird. That would have been a much weirder televised child show.
Yeah. Snails are hermaphrodites. They both want to play the male role. Why? Because it's freaking easier. And all they have to do is inseminate and then they pass their genes on.
It's hard, okay? It's not as easy.
So how do
you
they
gotta put in a lot of work.
How do they actually I gotta send you how do they compete to play the male role, you may ask? I'm sending it to you on Twitter again. Actually, you can just look it up.
Who is the most misogynistic? Is that how?
No, who stabs the other one the most?
Okay, that's pretty misogynistic.
With their
domestic violence.
Love dart. Look up snail love dart and show them. You can show this one. It like doesn't look that phallic. It kind of does, but not really.
Snail, slime trails, and love darts on the strange slow skirmishes. Should we watch this video?
I don't know that video, but sure. It's that.
What the fuck? Yo, that's creepy as hell, dude.
So that like white tooth thing is a dart and it's made out of calcium and it injects sperm boosting secretions into the other snail. So whoever stabbies, fuckies more wins and is the male
snails are kind of so they're just like snails are kind of doing the thing that people meme about, like docking penises basically.
I don't know what that means.
Docking, when two guys get together and like one has a circumcised penis and the other one doesn't, and then the non-circumcised penis you like put into the circumcised penis, basically like you unfold the uncircumcised part of the penis, like the tip, and then you put the circumcised penis in it like this, like a spaceship docking.
And they just touch? It's not
yeah,
like...
it's kind of like that.
Is that sexual or is that just a joke?
I don't know.
I don't think that it's like that at all. Their penis and their vagina is in their neck. So that's
a weird place to have it.
Yeah, that's what's going on right there. And then this one snail is going to stab the other snail. Crazy about the stabbing, it's actually super selfish and super misogynistic because it's not just sperm boosting secretions, it also reduces the other snail's lifespan and reduces their fertility so that they have no chance of competing. Like they can't go fuck somebody else. It's like my kids and then you die. When they did this in a lab,
kind of like my bitch ex-wife, am I right? Okay, let's keep going.
When they did this in a lab in Japan, the snails that were stabbed only lived like 3/4 of their lifespan.
Wait, so these fucking guys in the lab were just like stabbing with penis darts other snails?
No, the snails were stabbing each other.
Oh, okay. They were just like letting them ride.
Yeah.
Reduced my virility and killed me. Okay.
Also crazy because this is like a competition, right, between these two snails of who gets to play male. It's becoming this like co-evolutionary sexual arms race too. So these darts are becoming more freaky and like maybe barbed or sharper or whatever. Like it's an arms race.
That's
or like
crazy.
And then their skin is becoming tougher, so they have to evolve something crazier and more brutal.
But it doesn't make sense because like well, some Some snails still got to take it though. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to reproduce at all.
Yeah, but they don't want to be the ones to.
Okay.
So they're
Yeah.
evolving.
The mutually assured destruction and the snail penis wars. Okay, what else? Weaponized.
Flatworms do that too. It's just like their goal. Flatworms' goal is just traumatic insemination, which is a real phrase. Bedbugs do that as well.
What?
I wouldn't
Ew.
look up. Oh, he's looking at flatworms.
Traumatic insemination.
Insemination.
One flatworm mounts the other and stabs its needle-shaped stylet straight through its partner's skin, ejaculating directly into the body. This disturbing act is found throughout the animal kingdom, from bedbugs to spiders, and is aptly known as traumatic insemination. Oh, what the fuck?
Damn, this guy's good.